here at Bonneville Mill, and today we're going to make something a little bit more exciting for most people, I would think. We're going to try to make some homemade cinnamon rolls, and for that we are going to start off by making regular bread dough, similar to what we have done in a previous episode. So we're going to use the hard white Bonneville wheat. We're going to need some sugar, some salt, some oil, some warm water, and some active dry yeast. So we're going to start by mixing all these things together. And what I like to do is get the dry ingredients measured out and go ahead and put those into the blender. So we're going to use 3 cups of the hard white wheat flour. A little bit more there. 3 cups and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And a half of a teaspoon of salt. A full teaspoon or a full tablespoon of active dry yeast. And before I mix in the wet ingredients, I usually like to get these things mixed up a little bit together. So I got the whisk on there right now. Okay, at this point I'm going to switch the whisk out for the dough hook. Got those mixed in there a little bit. And raise it up. And in with the wet ingredients, 1.5 cups of warm water. And about 1/4 cup of the oil. So let's go ahead and mix that a little bit with the dough hook here. Kind of working this in a little bit and using the scraper to get the sides scraped down a little bit. Get this dough a little bit more evenly mixed with the liquids. Okay, if you can see, the dough is pretty mixed up now with the liquid, and it's starting to kind of pull away from the sides of the container. That's what you want to see. And depending on the flour, you sometimes may need to add a little bit less or a little more liquid. I think we're looking just about right now. So we're going to go ahead and mix this. I'll let the dough hook kind of mix that around for about 5 to 8 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. All right, we've been mixing for about 7 minutes now, and we're going to go ahead and turn the mixer off. You can see that the dough ball has kind of come together. It pulls away from the sides, and that's really what we want to see here. So we're going to let it go. We're going to drop it down. Go ahead and pull the dough off the hook. And we will. We're going to set this over to the side now. And we're going to cover it. And we're going to let it raise a little bit. So So go ahead and cover it with a clean towel. And now we're just going to have to wait for about 30 minutes or so to let it raise up a little bit. The dough has raised. You can see it's more than doubled in size. It's been about 35 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and punch that down. And we're going to pull it out of the pan here. I've got a greased cookie sheet laying here. We'll put the dough on that. And we're going to go ahead and hand knead it. You want it very nice and elastic. Kind of fold it over and over again. All right, at this point I'm going to try and spread it out a little bit. And I've got a roller here. We might put a little spray grease on the roller. Kind of making a little bit of a rectangle here, something similar to that. While we were off, I made some filling for this. This is about 1 cup of packed brown sugar, 1 stick of butter at room temperature, and a tablespoon of cinnamon. So we'll go ahead and put some of that on here and spread it out evenly. At this point, we're going to grab the edge and we're going to start to roll this, kind of tucking it up underneath as you roll it. And now we're going to need a pan. Go ahead and put those into. Grease the pan a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and start cutting these cinnamon rolls out and placing them in the pan. Okay, we're back now. We lost sound right at the very end of that last little bit that we did. So just to bring you up to speed, we went ahead and we put the rolls into this greased pan here, and at the time there was a little bit of space in between each one of those. So if you look back at the picture, you'll see that they were spaced out a little bit. That gives them a little bit of room to expand and get a little bit bigger. So they have raised quite a bit here. So they've probably doubled in size at least, and so they're ready to go ahead and go into the oven to bake. And I've had the oven preheating at 350 degrees, and we're going to go ahead and take the cinnamon rolls now and stick them into the oven. We're going to let those bake, and I'll let you know how long as soon as we come back, because I'm going to keep peeking in on them. That's my best way of looking to see when they're done, is to kind of peek at them. That's what I do. So when they're done, I'll let you know how long they were in. It's been about 35 minutes, and I've been peeking in on the cinnamon rolls, and I feel like they're ready to come out. When I get them out, I'll show you a method of making sure that they are done. So we'll go ahead and grab them. And set them right here. Now you can see that the tops here are starting to brown a little bit, and if you tap them and they're a little bit too bouncy, then they're probably not done. If you really want to make sure, take one of the center rolls, and this might mess one up a little bit, but stick something in there and pull that center curl out of there, and if it's doughy, then you're going to want to put them back in for a little bit. We're going to leave them out because I think they're pretty much done. I'm not going to need to grab in there and see that center piece. Now, the only thing left to do here is, if you would like to, it doesn't matter, it's your preference, later when they are a little bit cooler, if you want to drizzle some white icing on top of them, we might do that a little bit later. If you do it too early, the icing will melt, and it kind of is pointless at that point. So we're just going to leave them like this for now. We're going to let them cool, and we'll come back a little bit and pull one out of there. Okay, we're going to finish this recipe up. Cinnamon rolls have cooled for about 25 minutes, and I've made up some white frosting to put on top of. I think I'm going to do about half of them. It's to your own preferences, whether you want frosting on them or not, or that's too much sugar. Be too much sugar for me, probably. But the white frosting is a stick of butter, 1 stick of butter, and 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 1.5 tablespoons of milk. And we combine that together, and that's what the white frosting is. So we'll go ahead and drizzle some of this on here. Try and spread it around a little bit. And try and get it nice and even here. And I think you get the idea of what's going on here. We're going to go ahead and scoop one out. And onto the plate. And that one is ready to eat. So it's time to consume the product. Remember, always use Bonneville flour.